Welcome to the Vault XL. This is part 2 pertaining to the autopsy of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. This will be very graphic commentary and content. Well, more content than commentary. I'll try my best to uh, give my opinion of the said information during this live delicately as I can. Nancy Grace is the source of this information. I will play various content of sources pertaining to what was said in court, D4VD's behavior, so on and so forth. Thank you for joining me. This is part 2, everybody. Thank you.
A little girl, Celeste Rivas, just 13 years old tonight, autopsy bombshell. We learned this little girl partially skeletonized, her left eye gone, traces of not only meth, but MDMA in her system. What was done to this little girl before she was killed with a, quote, sharp object? This, as David Anthony Burke, aka D4VD, the famous musician, whines behind bars. Really? Yes, really. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. He is charged with murder.
That witness may be looking at, hey, I'm facing these charges if I don't turn state's evidence and tell them what I know.
That's possible that somebody came forward and they've identified where she was actually murdered.
Straight out to Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter. Dave Mack, what happened in court?
Nancy, prosecutors provided new information about shocking illegal images found on accused killer David Anthony Burke's cell phone. Los Angeles County Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman claims the illegal images involving children were uncovered as part of a broad series of search warrants executed on Burke's phone and iCloud. Silverman did not say if any of the images were of Celeste Rivas. Burke's attorneys have insisted he's innocent and are demanding a preliminary hearing begin next week, meaning we might get a look at even more evidence as early as May 1st. Other than the CP found on Burke's phone, prosecutors also revealed a wiretap was used in the investigation. No real specifics about the wiretap other than to say it took place last year. Burke was shackled as he came into court wearing county-issued orange jail jumpsuit. The 21-year-old defendant appeared calm and at times tried to look bored, only speaking briefly to the judge, saying, "Yes, ma'am," as she made sure he understood what was taking place. Coming up, a status hearing scheduled for April 29th and a May 1st court date.
I'm going to stop right there. Welcome to the Vault XL. I have a post on my community page. There is an elderly black male missing out of Florida, Mr. Collins. This is a friend of mine's uncle. She had it posted to her Facebook page, so please check out my my community page. If you know anything about this elderly man, where he can be located, if you see him, please render aid to him. Call the Sheriff's Department 911. His last name Collins. Thank you for joining me. MDMA, meth, found in this autopsy report. Naturally, drugs are in your hair. I'm assuming the medical examiner tested Celeste's hair to get this said information. So now we know she was using narcotics, street drugs with David Burke. And I won't doubt that he was the one supplying them to her. We also learned that he stabbed this young lady to death, 2 stab wounds to the abdomen. Fingers were severed and 1 eyeball missing. Now, you will hear an expert say that it possibly could be from maggots that ate the eyeball. You're entitled to your opinion. Was it insect activity, or the eyeball was removed by David Burke? And or if there was anyone else helping, they removed the eye. She had some bruising on the hands. Could that be from fighting back, falling to the floor, being drugged? She's fighting to try to get away. Or could it be she put her hands up to defend herself and her fingers got sliced off? Lord have mercy. This is deviant all the way around. All the way around. Drugs found in the system of this child, fingers severed, eyeball missing, stab wounds to the front torso. And now we learned that David Burke had CP on his phone. It does not say that they were images of Celeste. So who were the images of? Underground CP, random children, or children that were sexually abused by Mr. Burke. It's going to be very disturbing if they are images of Celeste and any other children. And it is also believed that there were 2 young ladies in court who possibly were there for prosecution, and that would be something to see if indeed they were. And David is looking at them in court like, oh my goodness, they're testifying against me. Because I could see some like nodding in his face, facial expression, like, oh, okay, And I didn't know if he was doing that towards the judge, or maybe he got an eye view of the gallery. No cameras are allowed inside of the courtroom. They should be allowed. Why not? Let's get on with this, everybody.
Straight out to special guest joining us, Caitlin Becker, senior national correspondent, New York Post, host of podcast NY Postcast. Caitlin, bombshell autopsy report. And I'm wondering, now that I've seen the autopsy report, why the LAPD insisted it stay under seal for so long. Maybe because it's so incendiary. Remember at the get-go, Caitlin, a lot of news outlets were saying they can't determine COD. We have sources inside the medical examiner's office. They can't tell COD because she's decomposed, 1, and 2, dismembered. BS, technical legal term. They've had the COD for months now, and that is death by a sharp object. So,
when did the medical examiner come to a conclusion of how Celeste died? First week, second month, third month? Because he was adamant to get this information out to the public. Sorry, I got my window up. He was adamant to get this information out. So that would lead me to believe he had already come to a conclusion of how Celeste died and the injuries incurred. Okay? So what is the specific date when he made the official rendering of the autopsy? Because I can't remember that far back of when he was trying to get the information out. But he was adamant, and there was this tug of war between the medical examiner's office and the police department. And as you hear on Nancy Grace's podcast, there were sources saying that, oh, they don't know anything, they don't have a definitive answer. And now we learned that there was. See, sometimes you can't believe these sources and the information. You're hoping that they're true. But this is what I always tell people. Everything is about interpretation.
what can you tell us? Do we know why the LAPD wanted it kept secret for so long?
We don't know why they wanted to keep it secret for so long. This was determined back in December at the end of 2025. And we did have sources that we spoke to who told us the same thing that you had heard from other sources as well. They couldn't determine the cause of death. They couldn't say it was a homicide because they couldn't figure out how she died. But this, as you said, explosive bombshell autopsy was so disturbing and gruesome and brutal, but clearly laid out at least 2 areas where she was very clearly stabbed with something, even to the point where they were noting the angle with which the knife went in. It was between 3 and 9 o'clock. And if you think about going down like this, that's exactly how you would hold a knife. So the fact that this was sitting there for all of these months is baffling.
Caitlin. You've read this autopsy report. Very rarely have I felt nauseous reading an autopsy report. I don't even feel nauseous when I go to an autopsy. When I read this, I felt nauseous. I got hot all over because I think of Celeste as that little girl, 13 years old, and bombshell tonight. We are learning that D4VD, aka David Anthony Burke, met Celeste allegedly when she was 12. He's a grown
Possibly
man.
as early as
What
11.
is he doing with a 12-year-old girl, Caitlin Becker?
Nothing good and nothing legal, Nancy. So the New York Post compiled a bunch of Discord, Reddit, chat rooms, clips and screenshots going back to 2023 and then back to potentially 2021, where she was maybe 11, 12 at the oldest, where they were apparently together. These disturbing messages with people on Reddit and Discord saying that he had a girlfriend. Her name was Celeste. It was something with a C. She was in middle school. So this seemed to be no surprise to some of the fans who were operating in some of these chat rooms and circles. One of them looked like it was even a conversation between the two of them in a chat room, where it's October 2023, where someone that appears to be David says is Celeste here, and a screen name that appears to be Celeste says David Bark or Burke, but it was, she wrote BARKKKKK to just be kind of cutesy as a 12-year-old would be online. But even going back further, Nancy, her missing persons flyer indicated that she was in Hello Kitty sandals, which just that image in and of itself is troubling. It gives you an idea of just how young she is. But there was a post that David had posted of a photo that included some Hello Kitty Crocs that you could see at the bottom, and then a caption where he made some disturbing reference to the Hello Kitty girl that got him in 2021. So now we're talking about grade school age. It is so troubling and grotesque in so many ways to know that information that we uncovered, and then you put it with the way she was found by investigators. It really does make you sick to your stomach.
Couldn't do that.
Sorry about that interruption, buffering. So we've got screenshots. We had been hearing about that months before in 25. Somebody was curious, and that's why they were taking photographs of the screenshots. And it's all coming to fruition now. And this is disgusting information about a kid. Skeletonized, drugs in her system, stab marks, fingers missing. Was it ritualistic, deliberate? Of course. Was she fighting back? Her fingers got sliced. Then you have to wonder how big was the blade. I thought about something earlier. Celeste didn't have a driver's license, so naturally he would be the one to have to pick her up. Imagine this was all planned on this fateful day, which whatever day it was, April, May, whichever. What was the ride like from Elsinore to Los Angeles? Because you're planning to unalive a person. What in the world could you be talking about once the victim gets into your car? I was thinking about that earlier, and it's like it's so scary, because we're not talking about a grown-up who went to some guy's house, things jumped off, there was an altercation, the person got stabbed, mutilated, dismembered, so on and so forth. We're talking about a child sleeping with a grown man, being SA'd by him, and she has to get into his car every visit. Stay woke now. And on this fateful day, afternoon, night, whichever, he picks her up. You know he did. He picked her up. I doubt that anybody took her to LA. Or she could have been already in LA, because Mr. Fisher tells us she was hanging about in LA. But either way, let's say he picked her up from wherever. Imagine the ride. Because when you're angry, you're either venting or you're quiet. Stay woke now. So imagine he picks her up and there's no conversation. She's rattling on, perhaps she's a kid. How you been? Oh, I miss you, kissy face. But he's not so into her. And wouldn't she say something? What's wrong? What's the matter? Well, why'd you pick me up if you're acting like this? What did I do? What's the problem? See, we don't really know what the motive is unless they have exact text messages to tell us of a conversation that DVD has had, D4VD has had with someone to say, I did this because of this. He is dark, and he was dark before he met Celeste. So as I said in my last live, if not her, it was going to be somebody. And that's what people need to understand about a sadist. It's going to be somebody. Somebody's mother, father, grandmother is going to cry. Okay? If it wasn't her, it was going to be some other little boo-boo kitty. It just so happened to be Celeste Rivas Hernandez. That was my thought process earlier. What was the conversation like when he picked her up? If she wasn't dropped off at that mansion, what was the conversation like? Did he pretend that he was, affectionate, caring, touching her, kissing her, knowing he was going to unalive her? Or could it be spur of the moment? Something jumped off at the house when he got her there. Some words were spoken, accusations from her or him. And then he just decided, okay, I'm going to stab this girl. Or it was pre-planned. Many people aren't going to really care. But you have to remember, when you go before 12 members of a jury, they're going to have these questions. They're going to take notes, and they're going to ask these questions depending on the evidence that you bring forward pertaining to your theory. Because if you don't have the evidence to support it, and it's a theory, there may be a problem. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they've got something in text messaging, data, phone pings. Her phone pinging at that location with his phone to put it at April 23rd, May 5th. Her phone's at that house. But she's not coinciding with anyone by phone, internet, messaging. And what's so bizarre about this story is that she was found inside of a car, a trunk of a car. The same person she's been abused by, she's in this person's car. And this is what it amazes me about this story, the stupidity to put her in the car and just park it around the corner 2-3 blocks over like it's nothing. It don't matter. They ain't gonna tire of me. What you mean it's your car? This lets me know this person is he was either high, doped up, cocky, or he just don't give a F. Because there's no way I'm going to unalive somebody and then put them in my car and park my car around the corner and think somebody's not going to knock on my door and say, hello, you got some explaining to do. We found somebody in your damn car. Oh, dismembered. You know anything about that? No, I don't. I need a lawyer. Bye. This is macabre. Do you hear me? Macabre.
Hey, Philip Dubé joining us, veteran criminal defense attorney, joining us out of this jurisdiction, LA. The Hello Kitty girl, 12 years old, when D4VD puts the news on her, she's missing an eyeball and she's skeletonized. Thoughts? Why shouldn't this be a death penalty case?
This is not a capital case. It might be on paper, but this young man has absolutely no criminal record. I do not see a jury ever executing him. I think best case scenario is that this could result in a plea bargain. But even then, I think it's highly doubtful because his max is life without parole. Whoa.
Let's stop there. I put up 2 polls pertaining to this scenario. Will he ask for a plea bargain once the information starts to be relayed to the court? The evidence, the phone pings, the text messages, the cloud info, the CP. Because once you start putting that out, you can't take it back. Testimony from any girls he's had sex with, you can't take that back. Will he ask for a plea? If he saw those two girls in court and they were actually victims, he knows he's cooked. He's a cooked bird. Any images that are derogatory in nature pertaining to children, Celeste, anything that he removed, such as body parts, he's cooked. You're not going to be able to just keep saying, oh, somebody else did this. Somebody else did this. Because as we have learned with killers, they need paraphernalia from the victim. They need something to look at, focus at, even self-gratify themselves to. Yes. This is just so baffling to me. A young black male, this damn deviant. 21 and you're this deviant? You've got CP on your phone, could be pictures of her, could be pictures of other kids, random kids, could be off a dirty website. The point is, you ain't got no business with that shit on your phone. You ain't got no business soliciting children. But this is what I told you all in my last live. He is a child. He has the mind of a child. So it didn't shock me he would gravitate towards children, abusing children, because David didn't have a life as a child. Homeschooled, stayed in the house. This is all he knows. It's the internet. So you have sadistic ways, thought process. You're going to go to the internet because that's where you are all the time. So he went to the internet to get a victim. So this is no shock. This is no shock at all. And as I said, if not her, it was going to be someone else's child. We also hear he's whining in jail about not getting enough recreation time. Well, David, looks like to me you've had a lot of recreation time. You've been playing around with other people's children, abusing them. I say you've had a lot of free time. You've been living in high dollar mansions, probably paying $10,000 a month for these nice homes. Most people can't even afford $5,000 a month, let alone 10,000, 10,000 racks. I say you've been doing pretty damn well, sir. You've had a lot of playtime, and playtime is over. Checkmate. You want to go outside. You want to go outside what? So somebody can beat your brains out? You want to go hang on a yard? You want to go hang with the homeboys so somebody can stick you? Maybe that's what he wants. Come on with it, Queen. Maybe this is what David wants. You let me out this cage, they're going to stick me because of the charges. Because we know allegedly nobody likes a pedophile. That's why pedophiles, when they go to prison, they're grouped with other pedophiles. If you didn't know that. They put them with their own like kind on their blocks. So that way they can mingle and congregate together, reminisce on their dirty deeds. He's in the county jail with gangbangers, other unalivers. Hell yeah. He knows the game. Wreck time, or is he just talking about wreck time by himself? Because he's in seclusion allegedly. So maybe it's, okay, wreck time by myself, but can I just get a little more outdoor time? Let me clarify that. He's in seclusion. So he wants more time out. But I know damn well he don't want more time with others. Because to me, that's like suicide. Is he on suicide watch? I hear that has not been proven. Why not? You're talking about a little 5-foot giant who doesn't have any experience with the world. He is taken up with children and abusing them. And you think he's going to be able to hang in an LA County jail? Are you serious? This boy is ripe for the taking and ripe for unaliving himself.
On earth would be the incentive for him to take a deal that would involve life behind bars anyway. So I actually think that this may be over file.
Put him up. Philip Dubay, I like you. But I gotta ask you a question. When you do all
Typical
that
defense attorney.
right there, do you ever actually look at yourself in the mirror? How can you say that? The girl was 12. Celeste Rivas was 12 when D4BD, the big musician, puts moves on her, and now in his trunk, her body in pieces, her left eyeball is gone. Wonder what happened to that. So Scott Morgan is going to tell you that when you decompose, your eyeball doesn't just disappear. Where is her eyeball? Why did she have MDMA in her system, meth in her system? Why? Why is this not a death penalty case? If this is not a death penalty case, what is?
I say it is death penalty because it is special circumstances. You're talking about a child, first of all. You're showing a pattern of abuse, of luring and setting up the stage to molest a kid. Come on, this is crazy. They probably have evidence of other children. Other children are probably coming forward. It's no telling who else is going to jump in the pot before summer gets here. Come on now. And if he has CP on his phone of her and other kids, girl children, could be boys too, you're not going to be able to say, oh, he don't have a criminal record. Who cares? A lot of sadists don't have criminal records when they start offending. Let's just call them lucky. They're lucky. You got to start somewhere. Come on now. I don't care if he doesn't have a criminal record. He just started coming outside a few years ago. You forgot he was living in a house where he didn't have any friends and didn't go to school. He was homeschooled. Checkmate. So he's free like OJ. And now that he's free, or when he was free before getting arrested, he was picking up children, soliciting children on the internet. Come on now. Torturing a child, drugs in her system, fingers, arms removed, torso, head in one bag, other body parts in another bag, and a deliberate purchase of cadaver bags. And last I checked, Walmart don't have no cadaver bags. Hello, Lisa. Thank you. Walmart don't have 6-handle bags. And everybody knows what it means when you have handles on a bag. It's no different than a casket. Whoa, come on. Preach, Queen. When did you ever see one person carrying a casket out of the church? You haven't. When have you ever seen one person pushing a dead person on a gurney from a crime scene? You haven't. That bag with the 6 handles is for several people to grab a hold of the bag to carry the dead into a hearse and or ambulance. Are you serious? Eyeball missing. Was it deliberately taken out by David Anthony Burke, or was this maggot activity? They ate the eyeball out of the socket. I have not heard about tool marks. I have not read the definitive information of the autopsy. I'm just getting bits and pieces of everything. So this is why this is a part 2 from my live yesterday, where I did not have a deep dive of information. At that time, I had only known that she had been unalive by a sharp instrument. What was the instrument? Knife, letter opener. What was it? Was she awake when she was stabbed? It's another question I have. Standing up, lying down. Was she under the influence of narcotics at the time? Let me drug her up and then I'm going to give her the business. Lord have mercy. We're going to leave this information from this lawyer. We're going to get to Mr. Scott, who's going to describe the scene for us pertaining to the autopsy. I like him.
From a medical examiner, he goes out to the scene and he sees all the scenes as they are when police find the body. He looks at accidents. He looks at natural causes. He looks at suicide. He looks at undetermined, and of course, homicide. And he knows the difference. Usually one glance and he can tell you. Could you walk us through and try to skip the medical examiner vernacular?
She's so rude.
Like you're talking to a jury, please, so we can all understand. See, I understand what it means. When I read the autopsy, her left eyeball is gone. How did that happen? That did not happen naturally. I know what it means that MDMA is in her system, methamphetamine is in this little girl's system. I know what it means that her head is in an actual body bag.
Before she continues this, MDMA is ecstasy, if you did not know. And the other one, I believe, is MDA. It's called SAS. It is another form of a street drug called that's similar to ecstasy. It's called SAS. Either way, it ain't had no business in the system of a child. Child has no business taking drugs. But see, this goes back to the live I did yesterday. Please check out that live, very informative. I lay out the groundwork for how we are, where we are with this case. A child who was not monitored, a child who was out here having sex at the age of 10, a child who was hanging with gangbangers, a child who was promiscuous with grown men. And what comes with grown people? Drama, trauma, abuse, drugs, alcohol. So it would not shock me. She's sleeping around with different guys. That would be expected, because more than likely she was introduced to sex as a child. Perhaps somebody in her home or peripheral were sexually active. They were talking about it. They touched her inappropriately. I don't know, but I won't doubt it. See, that's what people don't understand about abuse. It's a jump off. You take a child around sex, be it pornography, magazines, videos, it's only a matter of time. They're going to be engaging in that, looking at it with other people, children. Now they're going to start acting that shit out with other parties, children, grown-ups. So it don't matter if it was a kid that touched her, or she touched a kid, or a grown-up touched her. However it went down, it's a wrap now. This child is deceased. And as I said before in my live, all this touchy-feely, then the kids bouncing around from place to place, jumping in and out of cars. You can't be shocked that she is where she is. It is said she weighed only 71 pounds. If you look at some of the photos, she looks a little curvy. I'm looking at myself, and I'm thinking to myself, by the age of 14, she should be weighing more than 71 pounds. Could be. Maybe not. But if she's getting high using drugs, she ain't going to weigh a lot. Then she's bebopping around from different places. She's not eating properly. She's not taking care of herself. She's probably not drinking water. She's dehydrated. She's like out here as a street person. I want you to really think about this information. Because Mr. Fisher tells us she was staying in other places in LA besides David's home. So that means she was out there. And I don't know if this child was being human trafficked by others, if she was prostituting. Who the hell knows? Because mommy and daddy don't seem to know a damn thing about this baby girl. And they need their tails whooped too. I'm not leaving a stone unturned when it comes to this kid or any other damn kid. Your child is running away. They're getting in trouble. The police is coming to your house. You need to make provisions to put your child somewhere. Because this isn't appropriate to have a child running in and out of a house, just popping up at the house like she's paying fucking bills and she's a kid. I want you to think about that. Just a kid running in and out of a house, running away, going and having sex with a grown man. Living with her mother, having sex at 10 with an adult 20-something-year-old man. A gangbanger who is now dead. Hell yeah, everybody needs their ass whooped. I said that.
With handles on it. That's not a trash bag. And that under the body bag, which they have to go get, or is it one of his props for one of his creepy songs about death? Oh my goodness. That means it's going to be covered with his fingerprints, right? That said, underneath the body bag, an actual body bag, is a trash bag with her dismembered body in it. You've got her head.
Let's talk about that body bag. Very good point, Miss Nancy. Was this bag a prop he had already had for videos, or he ordered it after he unalived Celeste? Because I'm on the money, he did this. So did he already have the bag? I didn't think about that because he's a creepy crawler. He's a vampire. So could it be he already had this damn bag? But let me tell you something about that. Either way, whether he had it or not, what the hell is she doing in the damn bag? She didn't have no business in that bag. Nobody had any business in the bag. For the obvious reason. Because he's dark. He was going to hurt someone. So whether this was intentional, she was blackmailing him, she was upset, she thought he was messing around with other women, girls, they had an argument, disagreement, he was tired of her, whatever the damn motive was, you can't go back, can't take it back. That's the point. He had no business messing with a child. Had he been talking to an adult female, once he tired of her, done with her, he could have sent her on her way. But because he's dark, he probably would have done the same thing to a 21-year-old. Pay attention. He's been thinking about death and doom for a long time. So it doesn't matter the name of the victim, the age. He was going to hurt someone because I believe David wanted to see what blood looks like, what it tastes like. Did he keep a memento from this crime? Yes. Of course he did. Now, did he commit the crime inside of that mansion? Did they find any type of blood matter, spatter at that residence? Because you don't clean up everything very well. And naturally, when you put luminol to the wall, to the floor, everything's going to light up where you were scrubbing and running the broom, the mop. Checkmate. Imagine that. Imagine the house lighting up like Christmas from where he was scrubbing, trying to get blood up.
In one bag, and the rest of her body cut in pieces in another bag. No wonder the LAPD wanted to keep a lid on it. It's incendiary, it's inflammatory, it's upsetting, and it may have altered the course of this investigation because it is so upsetting.
It is very upsetting. And Nancy, I got to say something real quick. In all of my years,
Joseph Scott Morgan,
that I would read an autopsy report where I'm hearing or reading the fact that a body bag is being swabbed for DNA. Nancy, do you know they swabbed each one of those handles? So body bag, this particular body bag has 6 handles. Each one of those handles was swabbed. The zipper has been swabbed. So you've got a body bag, and this body bag description is just like the ones that we use at the coroner's office, the medical examiner's office. I don't know about you. I've been at this for a long time. I don't have any body bags in my house. So again, he had to acquire this somehow. And
you can order this black bag with, let's see, 8 handles for $25.20 from Amazon, 90 by 36. Prima Care BD-3201 body bag stretcher combo with 8 side handles and center zipper. Waterproof bags for outdoor camping, hiking, and sleeping. Oh, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to sleep in a fucking bag. Polyethylene cadaver disaster pouch, 90 by 36 inches, black. Amazon's choice. 4.5 stars, 4.6 stars. Are y'all hearing this? So did David have this bag already? Number one. Will they be able to take DNA from the body bag, fingerprints, DNA, touch DNA? Because what I always tell you all about true crime, there are 50 ways to plan a murder, and there is 100 ways to get caught, because you do not think of everything, such as your neighbor's CCTV footage cameras. They're going to probably show this child and others coming and going out of this house, perhaps, them hanging outside, maybe, who knows? This is just so bizarre to me, how this child ended up in this situation. But as I said, the life she was living was already doomed because she was 10 years old having sex with a grown man. She needed a true intervention, and she didn't get it.
You can draw from that what you want, but let's get to Celeste, this child. First off, you know, you mentioned the skull. The skull is partially skeletonized at this point. Now, in decomposition, and she's been down for a very long time, we will see the eyes collapse within the sockets. That does happen. However, there is considerable insect activity, and I know that this is really horrible, but people need to understand the depth of depravity here. There's insect activity. So you have insects that have been, let's just say, feasting on the remains, okay? All of this time, and this has been contained in this frunk, in the frunk of this car. And I don't know where else it may have been contained at some point in time, maybe within that house. Insects are going to play a big part in this case. But Nancy, here's really kind of the dark thing, if it can.
Let me interrupt, Mr. Morgan Scott. Very true. The insect activity is going to give you a timeline, if you did not know. The dead insects are going to tell you how long they have been in the bag. Checkmate. Ooh, have mercy. They're going to get an expert to testify how long these dead insects were in the bag. Thank God for experts. So we'll get a timeline. If it is true, she was in the bag April, in the bag May, through the summer, or September. And as I have said to you all in my last live, I refuse to believe she was in that bag in the spring. Because if somebody is walking their dog every day, taking a walk on that sidewalk, you would have smelled her off the jump. You would have smelled this child in that car day one. Because by day two, you start to omit an odor once deceased. Sun baking, sun's warm in California. She's in a plastic bag, this polyurethane bag. Then the trunk is hot. Come on, use common sense. It's not going to take long for that bag to start baking like an easy bake oven. So you want Queen to believe this bag holding a dead person chopped up, 2 different bags with body parts in it, has been baking in a hot sun and trunk from May to September. Are you serious? I'm a lot of things. But no way she was in that damn car for 4 damn months baking. Parents took money from him, so could he be around when she was so young, allegedly? Well, those allegations, don't know if it's true. Like I said, nothing shocks me at this point, because once you learn of a child having sex at 10, anything is possible, okay? You mean to tell me you don't know your child's having sex at 10? Don't you wash her clothes when you see blood in her underwear? Most 10-year-olds aren't washing their clothes. Just saying. They're not acting funny, walking funny, talking funny. Come on. And if she's running away at 13, 14, hell, she probably is running away at 10. Well, that's what I'm telling everybody. You need to really pay attention to what they're telling you. This child was probably out in the street, which I ain't gonna say probably she was if she's having sex with a grown man. This girl has been in the street since 10. Now they have the audacity to show all these pictures. If you watch this Nancy Grace podcast, they've got all these baby pictures Nancy's showing of her when she was a little girl. What is the point of showing us pictures of her when she's 5 and 8? Because then my mind starts wondering what the hell somebody was doing to her at 5 and 6, 8 years old if she's already sleeping around a grown-ass man at 10. This shit pisses me off. And hell yeah, this is why the parents don't want to show themselves. They want privacy. Well, it looks like to me you had a whole lot of damn privacy. Your child's been out here screwing since she was 10 damn years old. Excuse my language. You had a whole lot of damn privacy. And the fact that she was coming back to the house, you still didn't go run to the police. Hey, she's back home now. You can take the poster down. I tell you, y'all better wake up. Something ain't right with this family. I don't know if the parents are together, but I smell bullshit. I smell bullshit. You don't want to show your face because you know what people think of you. And you ought to be ashamed that this information has been leaking out since that girl was found in that damn trunk. Everybody and their mama knew about David. Yet no arrests, no investigation that we know of, no DHS investigation, no nothing. And like somebody once said, that's possibly the reason why her parents did not continuously talk about her missing and fighting it with the police department. Do you know something? Do you know something? Do you know something? Because, hey, they knew what she was doing and where she was going. And they didn't want DHS in their business. Because, see, we don't even know how this woman was living, who she was living with, if there were other family members, friends, associates, drugs, prostitution. We don't know how this mother was living. And I have a problem with anybody that won't talk about their missing damn kid. So how convenient we have an autopsy. Now it's, an arrest and an autopsy. I want privacy. Look like to me you've had privacy ever since she's been ripping and running and missing from your damn house. You should have sent your child away to a camp, foster care, somewhere. Because obviously you had no control over your child. You should have called another relative to say, hey, I can't control her. She won't listen. Can she come stay with you? Who knows where this child could be today had there had been an intervention in her life. But instead, we're making videos about a child found dismembered in a damn trunk of a nobody-ass bum.
Get any darker? What they're identifying as fatal injuries on her. We've got the one that is on the left side in her rib cage, and it's actually the intercostal space. And what that means is there's a muscle that runs in between the ribs, okay? That doesn't really go anywhere. She could have bled out from that. It's hard to tell. There is hemorrhage in there. It doesn't affect the lung. But what I want to focus on is the one on the right. The folks at home will essentially go down your chest till you find the base of your rib cage on the right side. This is right at the top of your abdomen. And when the rib cage comes to an end, bingo, you're on your liver. Nancy, a knife, a sharp instrument was inserted to a depth of about 1.5 inches, according to the autopsy report. It goes into that liver. The liver is the most, other than the brain, is the most vascular organ in the body. And here's the dark part. Nancy, this was not a quick death. She bled out. This is not, we're not talking about somebody that was shot in the head. We're not talking about somebody that, had died in a road accident or something like that. No, she stabbed in the liver. She would have bled out into her abdomen. I've handled multiple cases involving the liver. If you don't have a team of surgeons standing there, there's nothing you can do for them. And she would have had an awareness, Nancy. She would have had an awareness that her life was merely just kind of seeping away with every drop of blood that coursed out of that. Now, a question is, where is the blood? Is there blood in the house? Is there blood in the car? Hard to tell because we don't know what they were able to go back to the scene to capture. But I know that in the immediate, if you could have examined her body like within a couple of days, you would have seen an abdomen that was filled with blood. And I really want people to understand that here. She had blood coursing into her abdomen. It would have been in her bowels, over the top of her bowels, and her eyes would have slowly closed. And there would have been nobody there to comfort her and love her in any way. She was brutally murdered, and then her corpse was brutally abused. You're damn right this is inflammatory, and there's going to be more that's going to come out. And it doesn't bode well for whoever is involved in this.
Can I talk to you about, so many things, Joe Scott. But first, when there's an eyeball missing, I know the eyeballs do collapse upon death after time passes. But there should have been some residue still in the eye socket to show the eyeball was there, had been there. Her whole eyeball is gone. It's gone. Did that happen during the dismemberment? Was she hit so hard at some point the eyeball was dislodged? There should be some, at least, residue within the eye socket to show she ever had an eyeball. It is gone, Joe Scott.
Let's take this in from two perspectives, okay? If it was something that was done in the pre-death stage, they would have seen some kind of evidence of hemorrhage and dwelling in there. Now, as to whether or not it was removed in a postmortem, who knows at this point in time? Because you would have, and actually on the socket itself, I've had cases like this where you would see tool marks because of sharp instrument in the eye socket right here, okay? If somebody's trying to remove an eye externally, you would see tool marks on this area. My suspicion is, and again, this is very graphic stuff, you're talking about maggot activity at this point in time. And maggots will feast in this area and they'll clean the area out. And I've seen this happen over and over.
I still think there would have been residue. I think that she struggled when she was first stabbed. She was stabbed multiple times, and that one of the stabs went in her eye.
Well, we'll see if they can actually tie that back. Can I make one more point now?
Let me interrupt here, Mr. Morgan. The Queen has gone to Google to ask about the eyeball. After death, the eyeball does not fall in the sense of dropping out of the socket, but it sinks back into the orbit due to the loss of internal pressure and muscle tone. This creates the sunken or hollow look often seen in the dead. Immediate changes. This is minutes to hours. Within minutes of death, the brain stops controlling the eyes and the pupils lose their light reflex. Intraocular pressure drops rapidly, making the globe soft and flaccid. If the eyelids are open, the eye begins to settle into the socket, often looking straight ahead or slightly downward. Corneal clouding can start within 2 to 3 hours. The eyes are open and exposed to air, when the falling effect becomes noticeable. The sinking of the globe into the orbit is usually visible within a few hours after death, depending on whether the eyelids are open or closed. If the eyelids remain closed, the eyes are protected from air exposure, slowing the process. Environmental factors matter. Warmer, drier conditions accelerate drying and sinking, while cooler, humid conditions slow it. Later stages. Over the next 12 to 24 hours, the eye continues to lose moisture, the vitreous humor liquefies, and the sclera may develop a brownish discoloration, tache noir, if exposed. The combination of muscle relaxation, loss of pressure, and tissue breakdown makes the eyeball appear more sunken and concave. Summary. You can expect the eyeball to visibly sink into the socket within a few hours after death, with exact timing depending on eyelid position, temperature, and humidity. The process is gradual, not sudden, and is part of the predictable postmortem changes in the eyes. Let's ask about bugs. Thank you for listening. After death, the human body begins to decompose, and certain insects quickly colonize it. The eyeball is one of the first soft tissues to be targeted because it is moist, nutrient rich, and accessible through the natural openings of the head. The eyeball contains fluid and connective tissue, making it attractive to early colonizers. Accessibility. It is exposed through the eye socket, which is a natural entry point for insects seeking to lay eggs or feed. So when she died, let's ask that question. Were her eyes open or closed? Because as I read to you, they tend to, not be as overt, I guess, for feeding if the eyelid was shut. Decomposition sequence. In the fresh stage of decomposition, blowflies and houseflies are among the first insects to arrive, often within minutes to hours of death. Blowflies lay eggs in moist, soft areas like the eyelid crease, or around the eye socket. The eggs hatch into maggots that feed on the surrounding tissue. Flesh flies. Similar to blowflies, they target moist, soft tissues and may lay eggs in the eyelid or conjunctival area. Houseflies, less common on the eyeball itself, but may land nearby and feed on fluids or debris. Insect succession. The arrival and feeding of these insects follow a predictable sequence which forensic entomologists use to estimate the time of death. Bingo card. That was the word I was looking for. Entomologist. He or she will be able to determine time of death from the bugs. Okay. Necrophagous behavior. These insects are necrophagous, meaning they feed on dead tissue. Their presence and egg-laying patterns can indicate how long the body has been exposed to the elements. What happens next? Once maggots hatch, they feed on the eyeball and surrounding tissues, accelerating decomposition. Beetles and other carrion insects may join later, but the eyeball is often one of the first sites of insect activity. Wow, I did not know that. In short, after death, blowflies, flesh flies, and sometimes houseflies are drawn to the moist, nutrient-rich environment of the eyeball, laying eggs or feeding directly on it, making it as one of the earliest targets in the decomposition process. And you will hear Mr. Morgan say that maggots can eat that eyeball out clean.
I'll shut my mouth.
Please, because I want to get to the fact she's got 2 missing fingers. 2 fingers are gone,
right,
just like the eyeball. You want to tell me maggots marched off with those 2?
No. I'm not going to tell you that. What I will tell you, though, is that this injury that she has on the left side, it doesn't communicate with the lung. But, we don't have a weapon at this point in time. Guess what? If they did what I think they may have done, what they're talking about in this autopsy report, they talk about the cortical surface of the rib. That means the outer surface of the rib. That knife or that instrument made contact with that rib. Guess what they can do with this? And you know it. They're going to remove that rib, they'll clean it up, and they're going to turn that rib over to tool mark section. And they will examine it. They can look at it with the unaided eye, they can look at it microscopically, and we can get a sense perhaps of what type of instrument was involved. If it goes into the liver, though it's a solid organ, you can't do tool mark on that. However, that rib, that insult right there is going to be key here. They're going to hang on to that. Additionally, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, but with the dismemberment, okay, they're going to take sections of bone from that as well, like the ends of bone. If you're talking about the femur or the humerus in the arm, the femur in the leg, they'll take the sections out of there where this instrument passed through. I don't think it's the same section. They're talking about that this instrument, whatever it is, passed through both the soft tissue and through the bone. Yeah.
That is a ferocious stab to pass through the soft tissue, which is your skin, fat, muscle, and through the bone, which gives me a very good idea as to how she lost her eye and 2 fingers, because, Judge Scott, it says in the autopsy report there are defensive wounds. So
Yeah.
she's doing that. And a stab is.
And that's exactly what I just said in my commentary. When it shows the autopsy of the abrasion on the hand, or perhaps the top, she was fighting him back, and that may be how she lost her fingers. I could be wrong. She's putting her hand up to get him to stop stabbing her. Now we have to ask, does he have any injuries from stabbing Celeste Rivas Hernandez? Did he accidentally stab himself? Of course, they're only showing him stabbing her 2 times in the torso, fingers removed. That could be, as I said, her putting her hands up, fighting him off. Lord have mercy. This is so violent and deviant. As you heard Mr. Morgan say, her liver was injured in this brutal attack. And I would assume she was awake. Don't know if she was standing up on the floor, lying down in the bed, but she was awake. And as he also said, she was aware of her injuries, bleeding out alone. And I'm sure she sat where she was lying, wondering, how in the world did I get to this place of being stabbed? What did I do to this person to deserve this? What did I say to this person, D4VD, for him to stab me? And also in autopsy, you'll see where she was amputated at the legs. What was used to amputate the bottom portion of her body? Where is that weapon? And where's the weapon used to stab her?
Happening. It could easily go through her left eye. You'd find markings here and here, maybe on her legs. She's in a fetal position. That's what defensive wounds mean.
Yeah. So the trick is, are they going to be able to prove that? And this is one of the problems that you run into. Nancy, let me throw this out at you, okay? If you read that report, they actually use the term liquefied.
Exactly.
And so that's what you're dealing with these remains.
Right.
Okay, so we've lost a lot at this point because the cellular degradation that's taken place, it has literally liquefied the bottom of this body bag. So they're really fighting an uphill scientific battle here to try to understand what actually happened. More to come.
Very well said, Mr. Morgan. Liquefied remains in 2 bags of a 14-year-old child. As I said to you all before, you have to think logically. Dismembered in portions, put in a bag, baking in the hot sun in a trunk. Sweet Jesus. Insects feeding off of the remains of a child. You know the bag was sweating because it's hot in California. And then she's inside of a bag. And then the body is breaking down. All the insides, organs are breaking down. And all that is liquefying into the bag, plus the heat and sweating inside. And this is what he thought of a girl he was essaying to stab her to death, dismember her body, store it somewhere, God knows where, in the house, I guess, and then put her in a body bag and then another bag, and then say, you know what? I'm going to put her in my damn expensive Tesla. Fuck it. Fuck her, fuck the car. And then park the car around the corner. Later they said 3 blocks over. Initially they were saying it's around the corner. Either way, close by. She was disposable just like that car. And it showed you what he thinks of people and objects. They are the same. Come on with it, Queen. The car is no different than her. Ain't nothing. That's a little street terminology. Ain't nothing. I can buy another car and I can get another girl. Checkmate. Or shall I say, another victim.
Well, I know this. I know she had defensive wounds. I know that the stab wounds to this little girl were so vicious, it went through the soft tissue to the bone. I know that the defensive wounds most likely mean she's doing this, which could indicate how she got 2 fingers sliced off of her hand.
Wow.
I know her left eye is gone, and then her head is partially skeletonized. And I know that when you pick something up, like a body bag with 6 handles, this is where you look for DNA. You look everywhere, but this is an obvious choice for DNA to be found. Yes, no.
Did David and whomever else who came along after the fact or helped during leave DNA on that body bag? Well said. Because like I said before, you always forget something. Even if this was a planned event to unalive a child, you forget that there are CCTV footage outside your domain, cloud storage, pings from towers, her phone pinging at the same location as your phone. Where is her phone? Number one. Where is her purse? Where are her personal belongings? Found with a tube top on. Some say there was that footage of her at a concert or a girl that looks like her with the same tube top on a day or so after, or 2 days after she's allegedly unalived. So is the time right on the unaliving and the mutilation? And as one YouTuber said, you mean to tell me the parents saw her there at the concert, if it was her, and they didn't look at her and think, wow, she's awfully young? Yeah, what do they care? They raised this demon, and they kept him and his brother and sister cooped up in a house, homeschooling them, and wasn't teaching these children a damn thing. And that's my personal opinion. And they were trying to hide these kids from the world, but all along they had a demon in their midst. They spawned that demon. I want you all to think about that. They were too busy trying to hide their children from the outside world and evil, when all along the demon was already in their fold. That's a deep SHIT. And you see this all the time. Folks so worried about outside, what they're doing over here, over there. When all along, the problem is in your own damn house. David didn't just wake up at 20, 21, unaliving a kid. There was a metamorphosis. There was a metamorphosis. You see, that cocoon that the Burks had built for those children was ground zero for this chaos that took place in a mansion with a minor. They built this demon, and now they have the audacity to worry about why the DA charged him. Oh, we're not shocked, but I can't believe they did it. Well, that don't make no sense what you're saying. You spawned this demon. You saw signs something was wrong with David, because naturally, I'm going to think there's something wrong with you too. And sadly, they have 2 other children in their possession, and DHS needs to be watching and investigating, because one demon is locked up. Who the hell knows what's going on in the Burke's house? And I think somebody needs to intervene. That's my personal opinion.
Absolutely. Points of contact, Nancy. That's what we're looking for. And if any of these idiots did not have gloves on, okay, there's and something people don't understand about body bags. These nylon handles are very coarse, okay, and so you have a weave that's in there. So this transference of, say, touch DNA that might be there would transfer into those fibers. That's why they're swabbing these. It would not surprise me, Nancy, if they had not taken those handles and clipped them off and preserved those. The body bag itself will be.
Well, they darn well better. That's a perfect place to get DNA. It's got like a consistency of a rope, because your sweat, your touch DNA gets down in those fibers. It's a treasure DNA, unless they thought to wear gloves. Then we're screwed. But on that body bag, on her body, she was still wearing the black tube top, which leads me back to you, Dave, not now, but in a moment. I want to pull up that video of a concert where there is apparently a Celeste lookalike up with his family members, relatives, watching his concert, because according to what we're learning, that concert is after her death. And so that's the concert. But okay, yeah, let's see. Is this right there? Is that a Celeste lookalike wearing the black tube top like her? Are they trying to pull it over on us that she was still alive? Because I want you to check the dates, Dave Mack, while I speak with Dr. Gerald Utter. But is that concert after when we think she's dead? So did they go to that elaborate effort to create a ruse that she's still alive? This is from clips of David on TikTok. She was found in her black tube top. Just let that percolate for a moment. And then, is that a Celeste lookalike at the concert? Okay. That aside, I can't wait to drop that bomb on Philip Dubé. Dr. Geraldine Utter is joining us. She is a renowned clinical psychologist specializing in psych evaluations and risk assessments within the criminal justice system. She is author of Mainlining Philly, Survival, Hope, and Resisting Drug Addiction, Aftershock, How Past Events Shape Up Your Life Today. And she is the star producer
he likes dark-haired women.
Nonsense. A documentary exploring.
Let me intervene. David has a type that was obvious in the videos that he made. The girls were always brown skin with dark hair. He obviously has a attraction to Hispanic women. That's obvious. Once again, to each his own. But it's sickening because this girl was Hispanic. So everything made out from David's mind. That's what everybody needs to understand about this crime. If it was not Celeste, it was going to be somebody. He had a penchant for Hispanic women. He was attracted to young girls, underage children. He liked them long hair, dark hair. And something else I noticed too, his eyes. I believe this motherfucker is the devil because they change colors. In a lot of his pictures, his eyes are brown, like a medium brown. But in this one, the mug shot, the motherfucking eyes look green. What the hell is going on here? I said, well, I know he ain't got no contacts in because they would make sure for him to take them contacts out. And I know I'm not going crazy. That mug shot, those eyes are green. And I have never noticed him having green eyes in any of his photos ever. You can't tell me Satan ain't real. You cannot tell me Satan ain't real, because that's the first thing I said when I saw the mug shot. I said, his eyes are green. What the hell is this? What the hell is this? Skeleton eyes, missing left eye. Was it from maggot activity that the child lost her eye? As I read you information, that is the first thing that the insects feed on is the eyeball. Finger severed, possibly from defending herself, because that is what people do. They put their hands up. We learned it with the Idaho 4. Girls had a lot of defensive wounds. And as they said, you're going to have more wounds if you're fighting back. That makes sense. Was that the intention all along, David? To find a victim, finally build up the courage to unalive a female because you have all this rage inside, this curiosity for death, mayhem. As I told you all in the last live, please check out that last live because I take a deep dive into the mind of this fool. He admitted during an interview why he wrote that song, Romantic Homicide. He felt like some kid was out here thinking about this and he was curious. He wanted to be like other kids, you know, have a life. And he thought that maybe some kid was out here thinking this. And I thought to myself, what kid did you think was thinking of this type of behavior of unaliving their girlfriend? Make it make sense. No, you were thinking this. And it's not to say that children have not had ill thoughts of wanting to unalive their girlfriend, their parents, their neighbor. But why are you assuming that from another child? Make it make sense. This is why you know he's warped. That this is what he would come up with. I wrote this song because I thought somebody was going through this. Because you got to remember, he's had no experience with other children, relationships. He was homeschooled. So he don't know anything about schooling, day trips, field trips, going to the swimming pool. He don't know nothing about that kind of stuff. He's saying, oh, I wrote this song because I thought somebody was going through this. I thought, what the fuck are you talking about? This is what you would come up with for a song because you thought some random ass kid in America was going through this, wanting to unalive their girlfriend and have no remorse. And then we have this information of him crying on stage, allegedly 2 days after the girl was unalived when he was at some concert. So we need to get definitive information of when she's unalive versus this concert of him crying on stage, singing Afterlife. I don't really give a fuck, but people are curious. Well, what are you crying about, boo-boo? Crying like the Tin Man. Tee-hee, tee-hee. What are you crying about? You crying because you know you unalived that kid, chopped her up, had her stored somewhere in your damn house? I really shouldn't have done that to her. She was kind of nice. Because you can't go back. Yes, saw the merchandise he was selling. Bloody handprints on t-shirts. They quickly pulled them when he became a suspect. Well, this goes to show you a lot of things have fallen by the wayside because of this child found in the trunk. We learn now that Interscope dropped him. His music was also on a video game. They dropped the music from the video game. So he's just feeding off of what? Anybody that's letting his music play on their platform and or YouTube. That's the only thing he's probably generating if he's not getting money from the t-shirts. The record companies dropped him from the website as well. So how is he making money? He probably already prepaid this lawyer and her dream team beforehand, before he got arrested, because he had to have known an arrest was imminent. It was coming. So let me pay her a lump sum, her and her dream team, because they're going to be arresting me soon. And I'm just going to live off of whatever I'm making or already got in the bank, pay all this high dollar rent in LA until the police shows up at my damn door. And that's basically what he did. Because we have not heard of him being out, going to functions, touring. Touring was stopped. And most people aren't going to want to promote a tour of a person that's has a child found in their trunk. Who the hell? You already know. People gonna be raising damn hell. No, we don't want to hear nothing about him. No. Let's go to CBS LA. Then I'm going to check out of here. I'll be back with Nancy Grace commentary later today. We're going to ask if somebody was in her home who happens to be the kidnapper. Who is the kidnapper? Almost 3 months, everybody. Next week will mark 3 months. This lady was taken from her home in Tucson, Arizona.
Details: a singer David Berg faces a judge in the murder case of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The hearing happening 1 year to the day the young victim was last seen alive. CBS LA's Jasmine.
Imagine that.
With what could be a massive digital trail leading to trial.
Singer David Burke in court Thursday, shackled and in an orange jumpsuit. A camera was not allowed, saying only "yes, Your Honor" when asked if he understood the point of the hearing. Prosecutors are accusing Burke of killing Celeste Rivas Hernandez to cover up their sexual relationship, allegedly starting when she was just 12 years old, revealing in court that David's phone contained a significant amount of child pornography.
It's a separate crime, so I wouldn't be surprised if the feds step in.
Former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani says despite these 7 months it took to arrest and charge Burke, prosecutors have a strong case with so much evidence gathered.
So I think what the DA's office was doing is put David's friends, his entourage members, before the grand jury, lock down their testimony under penalty of perjury so they don't change their story and go sideways.
Exactly.
Outside court, people who developed an interest in this high-profile case showed up to stream updates and demand justice for the teen girl.
A lot of the times, because it's a celebrity, they ignore the actual victim, and I always put her name down. And it's just this person is Rivas.
Thursday's hearing coming 1 day after the release of the medical examiner's report. The report saying the 14-year-old died of sharp force trauma, but the autopsy was made difficult because of the severe decomposition of her dismembered body when it was found in bags in the singer's abandoned Tesla last September. The Rivas family stating they would not be attending Thursday's hearing after learning of her horrible and gruesome death. I was horrified.
I cannot imagine her family hearing this.
Prosecutors believe Rivas Hernandez died 5 months earlier in April.
We believe the actual evidence will show David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez.
On Monday, Burke, known by his stage name David, pled not guilty to the capital murder charges. He was arrested last Thursday. Another status hearing is scheduled for next Wednesday, and then we could see a possible preliminary hearing happen May 1st. No statement came from the Rivas family. Here in downtown LA, Jasmine Hill, CBS LA.
All right, everybody. Autopsy revealed methamphetamines, MDMA, which is ecstasy, in the girl's system. 2 stab wounds to the front torso, fingers severed, bruising on the hand, dismemberment of the legs, child put into a cadaver bag to only melt down, dissolve in the California heat in an expensive Tesla belonging to David Anthony Burke. Car recovered September. And as I said to you all, it's still baffling to me that nobody smelled death when putting the tickets on the car, and also when the tow company came to pick up the car. Police should have been called when you put the ticket on the car for the car being parked there unattended. Make it make sense. So as I said, he's been a lucky, lucky fellow. Random people walking by a car smelling death, don't know where it's coming from. You're putting tickets on the car with a dead girl inside, and you don't smell anything. Number 2, tow guy picks up the car, he don't smell nothing. Car goes to the tow yard, sits 2 more days, and then all of a sudden, Oh, I smell something. I mean, is everybody on dope out there in LA? Help me understand. Because I'm utterly confused. How we have a ticket writer and tow person don't smell death. And you're at the car. You're bending down, hooking the car up, and you don't smell death. This is why all this is bizarre, this fucking case. This is why I really don't know if I believe half of the shit I'm hearing. Because it don't add up. You're this oblivious to the smell of death. And you're at the car. You're putting a ticket on the car and you are towing the car and you don't smell death. Come on with it now. We did not hear anything pertaining to this autopsy that she was frozen. We had heard that months back. As I said, I refuse to believe she sat in that car from April, May to September and nobody smelled anything. But hey, what did I just say? Some dodo birds were right there at the car and they ain't said, I think I need to call the police. There's something strange coming out of here. This smells bad. Ain't no squirrel, rat over in the bushes. So if somebody can explain that to Queen, I will gladly listen. But you're not going to make me believe it. Because it's just like right now. If you were to walk outside of your house, your apartment, and smelt a peculiar odor, you're going to tell me that you are not going to be curious to where the hell the smell is coming from. You're not going to follow the odor. You are not going to follow the odor. Exactly. So how did a ticket writer not smell death? Number two, the tow guy. You didn't smell death when you towed the damn car. And all this is bizarre to me. Him putting her in the Tesla. You didn't think somebody was going to ticket your car, tow your car, trace the car to your name, you stupid MF. Your fucking name is on the fucking tag and registration. And then you think you're going to say, oh, it wasn't me. I don't know nothing about it. I don't know her. Because you were rushing to get on that tour. That's why I was telling people to pay attention to the information. He was rushing to get on tour in September. So it would make sense he put her body in there in September, not April and May. He didn't have time to go put her somewhere. That's the only thing I can draw from it. Now, what the DA has about this April and May business, I don't know, but I always thought months ago before I got this information, he was pressed for time. So he just took her body and threw it in there in September because he was going on tour. He didn't have time to find a place to dump her. And he didn't want to take that Tesla and dump her because he knew that Tesla ain't nothing but a digital phone. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But you have to ask yourself, what idiot would put a person in the car, period, and it's registered to you? Well, but sweetheart, your name is on the car. I'm not going to put a body in my car and think police are not going to try to find me and ask me, hey, do you know what's in your car, in your front? And I'm going to say, no, I don't know. Hey, when was the last time you drove your car? I don't know. And I won't doubt he didn't speak to the police when they found him. And then you got to think about the manager. The manager didn't even want to tell David that the police were trying to find him. Stay woke, everybody, because he's greedy, wanting to make money. Hell no, he didn't want to tell him, hey, the police looking for you. There's a dead girl in your car. Now look at the end result. You greedy ass managers Your client has been arrested and charged with first-degree homicide and essay of a minor and mutilating a corpse. Still think he's going to make music? See, this goes back to what I said in my last live. Please check it out. It's part 1 of an autopsy. The universe connect deviant people and wayward people and put them in the same circle. David's deviant. I think his parents are deviant and wayward. He finds a kid who's a runaway, running away from something. She runs to the devil. Then you've got the devil working with David as managers. Don't you see this is all macabre? The devil was at play with so many different people. Everybody's got their hands out. Everybody's greedy for the money. And I don't know if this girl blackmailed him. I don't know if her parents blackmailed him. In the end, he didn't have no business messing with a child to get himself in a situation of being blackmailed. He knew better. He knew she was a minor. He met her at 11, 12 years old. He was looking for her. You got the chat screenshots of him asking, is Celeste in the house? He wanted that girl. And I won't doubt that David was groomed himself, because groomers were once groomed. Checkmate. And it's not to make excuses for a sadist, but it is what it is. I won't doubt that somebody had been touching David. He had been introduced to sex. And let me tell you this, and I thought about this too earlier. Are you listening? David and his siblings were not afforded the opportunity to be in regular school with children, learning different courses and learning different nationalities and different types of people, different types of religions and conversations, ideologies. What if we find out he's been molesting his sister? Checkmate. Molesting his brother. See, Queen is woke. I'm always woke. Because he has an idle mind. And what did I tell you about a 21-year-old, 20-year-old? They don't just wake up and start hunting 12-year-olds. If he had been hunting this child and other children, 11, 12-year-olds, when he was probably about 17, that would lead me to believe he had been desiring sex with girl children and possibly boy children. And they did not clarify who's in the CP on his phone. So it could be Celeste, it could be another girl, it could be a boy. We do have dual offenders, and he does seem a bit sugary, so it won't doubt me. I mean, I won't doubt that he possibly likes boys and girls. I do believe he's a bisexual male. So it won't shock me none if they come back and tell us when trial starts that the pornographic material is of boys and girls. And I also believe he would have taken pictures of his handiwork pertaining to Celeste Rivas, because he needs that. David is a visual creature. He thrives on the visual. He's got to take what's in his brain and put it to print. And that's where the dirty lyrics come from, the dirty videos, and the dirty shirts with the blood prints on them. He needs a visual. So you're not going to make me think he did all this to this kid and he didn't take pictures of what he did to her. He didn't pull out the camera and start filming this child lying deceased on the ground. He probably took pictures of her in the body bag. And anybody that helped him, God have mercy on your soul. And I won't doubt that he'll probably tell, yeah, I had help, and he's going to give up a name. He's going to do whatever he has to do not to get put to death. Now, There's a moratorium right now to where you can't be put to death in California, but old boy is facing life imprisonment. He's going to get in that same fucking bag he put Celeste in. So he ain't got nothing to lose but to tell, yeah, I had help. I told people about her. I had them come help me put her in there. They knew where she was. They knew she was in the freezer, because now they're saying he possibly moved her around, which shows desperation. Moved her around where? If you took her out to that Santa Barbara County, you should have left her out there. Well, you gonna take her out there for a ride around? You get scared, you rented a truck, don't know what that's about. It's just so many situations that we don't have the answers. But putting her in the Tesla was the stupidest thing. Who puts a dead person in their own car and then abandon their car around the damn corner and think somebody's not going to think or assume you unalive this person, dismembered them? And then they've got proof you were in the company of this kid. Video shots, videos, text messages. You probably got pictures of her, dirty pictures of her, and then you're still going to try to have your lawyer say, I don't know nothing. I don't know her. It wasn't me. It was my friend. Are innocent. Now when they show porn, excuse my language, supposed to say CP. Once they show CP of her if it's true, CP of other children, text messages of you talking to her, lewd conversations, videos, pictures of her showing her body parts, you showing your body parts to her, you showing your body parts, videos to other children, vice versa. It's over with, bro. It shows a pattern. Now, many people are going to say, well, just because you doing lewd things with a kid don't mean you would unalive them. You would if they are a liability. You would if you're deviant and you have another side of you that likes the macabre and death and doom. Hell yeah, you would unalive her. Because that's what's going to be brought up in court. His music, his videos, his lyrics, those shirts he made, any conversations, anything in his notes, in his phone, all that's going to play out in court. Relationships with children, all that's going to play out. In any eyewitness testimony of his conversations, his ideologies, his thought process, it's going to bring the house down. And sadly, we're going to have people testify that's probably going to lie, not tell the whole truth of their part of what they knew and what they did. But that's life. Because naturally, nobody's going to say, yeah, he called me over to help him unalive a kid. Help me. I went over there to help him dismember a kid, store a kid somewhere. Nobody's going to tell that unless they're a damn fool. They're going to tell bits and pieces and hope the district attorney, the police will believe it. If you have a child or know someone with a child, pray for them. Please speak to your children about inappropriate behavior, text messaging, sexting, sending of dirty pictures to and fro, receiving any type of pornography. Your children need to know that this is not acceptable. When they become an adult, they can do whatever they want to do. But they do not need to be looking at any type of CP or P of grown-ups. They do not need to be talking about sex with another child or a grown-up. You need to let them know this will not be tolerated in my house. If I find out you have been doing so, you get ready to get your little luggage and you are getting ready to get the hell out of my house. See, sometimes you have to use a threat to your children to let them know this is not going to be tolerated in my house. And you're not going to stay in my house participating in any illicit behavior, drugs, substances, so on and so forth. You won't sleep here. Because letting your children run in and out, which this is what happened with Celeste, is the reason why we're talking about a dead person. There was no supervision of her. And the fact that she's having sex at 10, we don't really need to keep going around and around about what the hell was going on in her house. It's obvious. Absolutely nothing. And I feel bad if there are other children at her house. Same with David's house. Don't you see what's going on? This is 6 degrees of separation of the macabre. The devil was at work in this story. The devil was at Celeste's house. The devil was at David's house. The devil was at his house where he was raised. And the devil put his tentacles out into the universe, and he brought all these people together, even David's friends and associates if they're involved. His own parents. The devil was at work. Don't you get it? He was at work. He's at work right now while I'm doing this live. There's some dirty demon out here right now walking the streets looking for fresh prey. There's some child being abused by a boyfriend, a father, a sibling, a neighbor, a priest, a coach. We just had a white man arrested here this week for trafficking children. You don't know people. And I don't understand this sick fascination with girls and boys. What in the hell could you have in common with a child? There's nothing you could talk about with a child. And even though we have a lot of children who are worldly, there's no logical reason for you to have any type of fascination, attraction, sexual with a child. Go get somebody your own damn age. Please speak to your children about inappropriate conversations and touching. Talk to your children about having self-confidence and knowing the signs that something is not right with the company that they're keeping. Tell your child that he or she does not have to drink, get high, pop a pill, have sex, perform sex, look at pee, any of that. And if they can get themselves out of the situation by removing themselves, tell them to do so and run like hell. You do not have to be a follower. And this is the reason why we have a lot of dirty situations. It's because the children become followers. They go along with the program because somebody else is doing it, because somebody tells them it's okay, or they're threatened. You need to talk to your children and say, you've got to learn wickedness. If it don't feel right, it don't smell right, it probably is not right. If every time you go around this guy, all he wants to do is touch your shoulder, stroke your hair, it will lead to something else. Stop going around him or her, and you need to tell an adult. Teach your children to speak up when they sense something is wrong with another kid and an adult. Because that is what the perpetrator wants, is to put fear in your child. And sadly, we have people who are raising children who don't have no business raising kids. They are just as immature as their child. And you see this all the time with the behavior of people out here, people filming people fighting and fussing. Everybody's in front of a camera dancing with their fat rolls and their breasts hanging out and their thighs hanging out and buttocks. This is not appropriate behavior. Everybody's bending over in front of the camera, showing their butt. When did we become this desperate for attention? And this is why children think it's okay, because they're looking at other people do it. Well, she's up there with her tube top on. Why I can't do it? Why do you want to do it? You want to do what everybody else is doing? So somebody jumps in the river. You want to jump in behind them? And that's what you need to tell your kid. You want to be a sandbag. You can't swim, but you're going to jump in the ocean, the river, because everybody else is doing it. Think for yourself. Be a leader, not a follower. And I won't doubt that David could have also passed this girl to his friends. Did that ever occur to anybody? Because he's wicked. He has wicked thoughts. His spirit is wicked. And the fact that he disposed of this child in his own damn car, it would shock me that he probably told her, hey, my friend likes you. Why don't you do something with him? He's attracted to you. I don't mind. I won't get jealous. Hello, Jess. As I said in my live from yesterday, it is no telling what this child has been privy to. If a child is having sex at 10, you already know she has a jacked up life. It is no telling how many people Celeste has been with, how many people have taken advantage of her. When she started using drugs, alcohol, smoking, chiefing, vaping, you don't know what her family life is like. You don't know how many men have been in and out of her mother's home. We don't know anything about her father. Could we find out later that she's been molested by her father, relatives, other children? Who the hell knows? Because this comes from somewhere. The fact that a child is 10 years old having sex with a 20-year-old, that means somebody was not supervising a 10-year-old. So how far back are we going to go finding out who's been sleeping with this child, abusing her? 10 years old, she was sleeping with a 20-year-old man. Was she abused by someone in her family to lead her down the path of getting in the cahoots with 20-year-old men? This is bad. And I got a feeling there's more to this Celeste Rivas story than her ending up in a frunk of a Tesla. I won't doubt that she has been abused by other relatives and adults, which led her to seek the comfort of a grown man who is now dead. She's possibly been in a cycle of abuse her entire life. And you posting all these pictures of Celeste makes my stomach turn. How dare you show pictures of Celeste as a little girl dressed up in hair bows, ski outfit? It's too damn late. The effort you're taking, mommy, daddy, to post these fucking pictures of Celeste, you should have been doing that fucking job a long time ago. I don't want to see no pictures of her at 5. For what? After I know everything she's been doing. It's water under the bridge. This just makes people wonder what the hell's been going on with you all raising this kid. The fact you never came forward to speak to the news when she was found in the trunk. He's been arrested and charged. You still won't talk to the damn news. Now you got the audacity to say you want privacy. Well, I be damned. Ain't that what you'd have had for 7 months? You've had privacy for 7 fucking months. You've had privacy for fucking 15 years. How dare you? And let me tell you what else is going to happen if you're not paying attention. Them son of the bitches, they're getting ready to go get them a lawyer and sue David for everything he's got. Oh yeah, I smell that. They're getting ready to sue the same monster that they let have their child. I said that, and I mean every damn word. They're getting ready to profit off of their own neglect. They're going to sue him in a civil suit for unaliving their child, abusing their child. They'll probably get a payday. Do you all follow where I'm going with this? This is just dirty retribution. The devil at work. He's just twisting and turning all these people into walking zombies. Everybody's got their hand out, and they're going to have their hand out in this story. The parents are going to try to hold on to that money. They're going to try to hide that money. Her parents are going to try to get his money. He's having to pay money to these lawyers. His managers are probably still begging and hunting for money. Stay woke, everybody. And all this is over a little girl found in a Tesla. That she's going to show us what people are really made of. So I always tell you, death is not always final. Death can show you what you had not seen and heard. And Celeste's death is going to show you how low the human can go. And some will say, well, Queen, her parents deserve the money. They did unalive, he did unalive their child, if you say so. But do you deserve money when you neglected your child that led her to run to David in the first place? I don't know about that. Because in the end, you're profiting from your own neglect. How does that make sense? Just think about that for a minute. How does that make sense? You're going to profit off of what you did wrong with raising Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Oh, and let me tell you something else I heard yesterday. I finally heard her middle name, because she's got so many damn names. Abigail. Oh, well, thank you. You all have been so kind to enlighten us of her name. And now I want to show us pictures of Abigail when she was younger. Well, ain't this a bitch? See, I keep trying to tell you all, death brings about some funny business with people. You won't believe how death can change people and show you what they're made of. I've experienced it with the passing of my mother, my father. You won't believe how evil a motherfucker will act when a person is put on a slab. You'll see things you've never seen before out of people you thought were okay with you. Let me say this to the Rivas Hernandez family. And I don't know if the parents are married, dating, not together. You sue David for any type of funds for the unaliving of your child, you can best believe the first check you get cut to you, you all are going to have bad luck. You mark my words. You mark my words. Any monies, royalties that you receive from David Anthony Burke, any documentaries, movies that you accept payment off of Celeste's name, you will never have good luck. Ever. That's the reason you're hiding now. Won't speak to the news, won't verify who you are. God don't like ugly. And I'm telling you, David's money is dirty. And any money you get off of Celeste, it's also dirty. And just as quick as we're talking about Celeste being deceased, don't think you can't end up where your child is. Hell yeah, I'm saying it. Because I'm telling you, I smell bullshit and it's on the way. And you can come back later in the chat and say, well, Queen, you said it. It's about to be a free fall. Everybody's getting ready to put their hands out off of the name of Celeste. You watch what I'm telling you. You just wait. You're going to hear about books. You're going to hear about documentaries. You're going to hear about TV movies. You're going to hear about everybody talking to the family and paying them a nice little fee to give us some information about how she was, what she liked to do, didn't like to do. But are you going to be getting the whole truth of what they knew and didn't know about this child being out here in these streets sleeping with grown men? Because I got a feeling that part ain't going to be told on behalf of the family. Somebody's going to throw that in there on their damn own. That's my commentary. Follow the Queen on Instagram, Newsbreak, YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. Drop your comments below this commentary. Take the polls on my community page. Did Nancy Guthrie's kidnapper visit her home before February 1st? And I mean inside. Did this person visit her inside of her home? Had they been on her property working? Somebody she trusted, thought she knew, worked with her, for her? Take the poll on my community page. Also, will David Anthony Burke take a plea if the prosecution thinks that maybe they should offer him a plea? Will they offer him a plea? And also, will he ask for a plea? He realized the evidence is overwhelming. His secrets are starting to emerge. He can't handle all this information coming out. Will he say, okay, lawyer, I'll need a plea bargain? Could he possibly face the death penalty? The governor say, okay, we're going to put this bad boy to death. Although he has not had a criminal past, but he needs to be put down because he's been messing with kids. He's got CP on his phone. He's messed with other young girls, boys. We're going to put this baby dog down. And I do believe the governor needs to overturn the death penalty. It needs to be active. I don't care that you have 500 people on death row. Make it 501. Make it 501. And as for the parents of Mr. Burke, what do you have to say now that he has CP on his phone? You know your son unalived that girl and dismembered her. You know that. You may never admit it. And I'm sure you all are going to profit also. Because somebody's going to be knocking at your door wanting an interview, wanting to write a book, a documentary, a movie, and you're going to soup up your fake ass version of who you all are as Christians, homeschooling your babies. Let's pray for the other two children that we don't have a repeat of a David Anthony Burke 2.0. Because David didn't wake up at 20 years old unaliving and dismembering a 14-year-old. He has been on this road for years, and he finally did what he's been wanting to do: take a life. Prayers for Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Prayers for the truth. Prayers for justice. Prayers for any children who are out here running to something that will not serve them well. Prayers for the missing, prayers for the deceased, and also prayers for Mr. Collins, who is missing in Florida. This is a friend of mine who has posted to social media that her elderly uncle is missing. Please check out the content on my community page. He's an elderly Black man. If you see this silver truck, you know of his whereabouts. You see somebody on the street that looks like him, please call 911. Prayers that he is found. I don't know his situation. I don't know if he's sickly, has dementia. Maybe he's just lost out here. But if you have any information, you're in the general area, please call 911. Or if you see him, aid him to safety. The next live will be pertaining to David Burke's parents. And we're also going to continue our dive into Nancy Guthrie. I might put both of the lives content in the same live. Did her kidnapper visit her home? Will we find out he's been in her home? And also, is the kidnapper one of her children? Because the more I listen to other people talk, I sometimes think that possibly this is an inside job because no one has been arrested. And this is another case that is baffling. 84-year-old woman snatched out of her home, and nobody knows nothing to tell to claim $1 million. Make it make sense. People will rat you out for free, and nobody knows who this person is. Bullshit. There's no way I'm getting ready to hold that secret. No way you're getting ready to be in my company and you have unalived an 84-year-old lady. Ain't nothing special about you, honey. And whoever's holding this secret along with the kidnapper, you need your tail whooped too. Because eventually this guy is going to slip up and he's going to tell on himself. And I want to see who sits by with this information and wait 10, 15 years, God forbid, to decide to tell 48 hours, Dateline. Yeah, he confessed to me one night. I didn't want to believe it. I was scared. Honey, I would tell it even if there was no reward. But for $1.2 million, I would hide in a damn cave until his ass went to trial and was convicted. Checkmate. Thank you for your time. God bless all of you. Thank you, Lisa, for modding the chat. I'll be back with more stimulating content and commentary. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Prayers for Nancy Guthrie. Prayers for Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Prayers for the missing. Prayers for the deceased. And prayers for Mr. Collins missing out of Florida. Thank you for your time. You have been listening to the Vault XL.